on a beautiful Sunday evening on the East Central Plains of Kansas. On our primetime Sunday night lineup, the Jacobsen Report with Coach Patrick J. Knap Jr., the Georgetown legend, engineer in studio Sean Torres. On your home and away voice of the Kansas City Royals, we are underway with the season. We were there for opening day, and we have got a great show for you coming up. But first, thanks to our sponsors, Jim and Cindy Jandrin was just with them the other night up in Omaha. They are heading up Midwest Renewable Energy LLC, energy for a strong America, renewable fuels, ethanol. It's lean, it's clean, and it's green, and their sponsorship of Life Runners, liferunners.org. I was with the great military veteran, Dr. Patrick Castle, who leads that effort, walking and running. Get on the website like the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobsen. Order your t-shirt from liferunners.org. Run and walk for life, helping expectant mothers and their babies, both before and after birth. KOFO 1220, 103.7. Also your home and away voice for the Ottawa Braves and the Ottawa Cyclones. Thanks all of you listening in from Topeka, our capital, where the legislature is trying to wrap up. From Rock Chalk Jayhawk country in Lawrence. From Baldwin City, home of Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Packers and the Steelers. From here in Ottawa, and to all of our friends in Osage and Osawatomie, Princeton, Paola, Gardner, and Garnett, Williamsburg, and Wellsville, and Franklin, Lynn, Miami, Osage, Johnson, Douglas counties. We are going to celebrate opening day in baseball Americana with two giants from 1994, Pat Knapp, who put women's college hoops on the map, and here, guys, a special guest who I'm going to introduce this way. This, I say, is the greatest opening day performance ever in Major League Baseball history. Let's go to Wrigley Field on April 4th of 1994 and listen to Harry Carey. All-time great Dwight Gooden is pitching. A guy named Karl Tuffy Rhodes is at the plate 3 times that day for the Cubs. Let's take a listen in. Second at bat.
3 balls and the strike. Long drive, way back. It might be. It could be. It is. Holy cow!
Third at bat, Steve Stone.
And there's a drive. Way back. Oh my goodness, Rhodes, can you believe it? He has hit 3 home runs.
And joining us is the legend himself, Karl Tuffy Rhodes, who went on to become an even bigger giant in Japan with Japanese baseball, hitting 464 home runs in a career there. Welcome to the program, Tuffy Rhodes.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Tuffy, I was introduced to you just past Friday at Ottawa University, where we were the baseball academic capital of the world with the 29th annual Baseball in Literature and Culture presentations, papers, panel discussions. You were our keynoter over the noon hour. What a great crowd. All the students there with some terrific questions. We had to bring you back for an encore today.
I had a great time there, and I'm looking forward to getting back real soon.
You know, I'm going to let Coach do some interviews here with you. He is a legend, still broadcasting for ESPN in the desert there. Great coach, and you guys both had great 1994s, and you put, in a way, Japanese baseball in a nexus with American baseball, Tuffy, and look what we've got now going on with the Dodgers organization and that intersection. Coach, you had that first nationally televised women's hoops game against Gino Auriemma, who's still coaching UConn, and it's baseball season, and the Royals are underway. We're their official home and away voice. Coach, you've got your own great podcast show, Play-by-Play with Pat Knapp and Jerry Busone. Take it away with Tuffy Rhodes.
Tuffy, again, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start where it all began for you, because I did a lot of recruiting in this city, in Cincinnati, great sports town, and you grew up during the height of the Big Red Machine. How did that build your love for baseball and your need or want to get better?
My mother was a baseball fan in our family, and she took me to Riverfront back when I was 5 years old, and I told this story at Ottawa University. I was sitting in right field up in the nosebleed section, and Ken Griffey Sr. was playing right field. And he turned around and he looked up in the stands, and I tell everybody this story. It's probably not true, but I could promise you that he looked me right in the eyes. And just him and I. And after that, I mean, I was blessed to be growing up in the era of the Big Red Machine, four World Series in the 70s. We're talking 7 to 8 Hall of Famers from that same team. What a great team. Went to the same high school as Pete Rhodes Sr., so what a great experience. Rest in peace.
Yeah, what was it, Western Hills High School? Yeah,
Yes,
I've
sir.
been there.
Yes.
I recruited quite a bit in Cincinnati when I was at Georgetown, and really loved that state in terms of basketball talent. So you start off with an unbelievable 3 home run opening day against Dwight Gooden. But then it doesn't go so well after that. What was the difference?
You know, I wasn't a student of the game. I thought my natural abilities would take me over the hump, and starting out with 3 home runs on April the 4th, 94, you know, my head got big and I didn't put in the work that I needed to do. I just played the game. I didn't become a student of the game. And, you know, things work in mysterious ways. I ended up in Japan, and that was a blessing because it changed my mentality of how to work hard and great ethics. Of course, I wish I would have made that decision while I was in the USA, but, you know, you live and learn. And I went to Japan, and I became a student of the game, and, you know, the rest was history.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You made big time history in Japan. I'm a big history and education major. Now, well, first of all, I would say you became a student of the game over in Japan because that's a big part of their culture. They're very tedious and dedicated when they go about things. So you learn from them. You probably ought to get serious right away, right?
Yeah, I had no choice. You know, we had meetings every day. Even though we faced the pitcher twice that week, we had batting practice, everybody on the field, no matter if you started or you didn't, hit 20 minutes. We had infield every day. We just basically like I told, our first spring training game, our day of practice was 9 to 5. You know, and like when you hear when you hear in the United States, you start at 9, you're done by 12, you're on the golf course by 1. But here, my first day, we had 2-a-days. We practiced from 9 to 12, ate lunch from 12 to 1, and then we went from 1 to 4 to 5 for another half of the day, every day of the week. And maybe after 10 days, you get a day off. I had to hit by myself batting practice, and I just wish, when I say this, everyone can understand how hard it is to do this. But I had to hit by myself in batting practice for 1 hour. 4 different batting practice pitchers, 20 minutes each, 1 hour.
Wow.
From my toes to my head, it was very painful. But they're in the process of teaching you how to hit when you're tired, use your head, how to play when you're tired, how to practice when you're tired. It just changed my life. I embraced the Japanese culture of how to play yakkyu as opposed to playing baseball. And like I said, I wish I would have learned that in the United States. I knew I could have been successful, but I wouldn't change anything in my experience of playing baseball in Japan.
Here with Tuffy Rhodes on KOFO, Coach Patrick J. Knap Jr. interviewing Major League Baseball Chicago Cub, Karl Tuffy Rhodes, who went on to further baseball greatness, epic legend in Japan, and look at now how the Japanese baseball culture has matriculated deeply here into even the heartland. Back to you, Coach Knap, with the great Karl Tuffy Rhodes.
Yeah, Tuffy. So obviously you wouldn't change anything. 13 seasons, established yourself as one of the greatest foreign-born players in league history. Many baseball fans now see the influx of particularly great Japanese pitchers into the major leagues. Otani, of course, does both. The Dodgers have a couple others. There's numerous Japanese pitchers spread across the major leagues that are doing well, even very well. Was it that level of pitching over there when you played, or did the MLB teams just ignore it?
Yeah, Nomo came over back in the early 90s, so it was always there. We had Irabu. The thing about it back then is that the pitchers that were really good or great pitchers in Japan, they couldn't come to America till 9th or 10th season of Japanese baseball. So I'm not saying that their career was over, but they didn't come over here in their prime like the Japanese players that are coming now. So I just would have loved to see the pitchers that I faced, Irabu, Matsuzaka, that came over here, Kawakami, that came over here after 9 seasons, come over here after 3 or 4 seasons like the Japanese players are doing now.
Yeah, their arm is pretty tired after 9 or 10 seasons, no doubt. You don't want to pay big money for that. So now you go on and you tie Sadahara O's record of 55 homers in a season in 2001. How was that received over there? Because he's like a god.
Yeah. That's what I try to explain to people, but I don't think they were ready for it back then. I guarantee they are now. And even if I did break Sadahara Osan's record, he still would have been Osan. It would not have changed anything. This guy, he is probably by far the most famous. He's not 100% Japanese, but he's probably one of the most favorite or famous Japanese players that ever exist, or baseball players around the world. I mean, when you talk about Sadahara, you talk about and the likelihood of Babe Ruth and such names like that. But he's an all-time great, and if I would have broke his record, I tied it, but if I'd have broke his record, that would have never changed. You got guys breaking Babe Ruth's record nowadays, and to this day, but yet and still, we still talk about Babe Ruth.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Ohtani with the Dodgers, hits and pitches. That might shorten his career. It's a lot of wear and tear. What are your thoughts? Obviously, right now, Ohtani's at the top of his game, but how about down the road?
I think Ohtani is the greatest baseball player of all time. I mean, I'm not saying that he's the best hitter of all time. I'm not saying he's the greatest pitcher of all time. I'm just saying what he do in the game of baseball is the greatest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Now, he has a chance to be the first person ever to throw and strike out 200 batters and hit 50 home runs, and that's not even adding 50 stolen bases, over 100 runs scored, just on and on and on. But the good thing about Ohtani is that Ohtani is a DH, so if his pitching ever dwindles, he can always just DH for another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Are you living in the States now, Tuffy?
I am in Arizona, and I'm also in Cincinnati, where I born and raised, but I have a place also in Costa Rica that I live in as well. May will be 5 years.
So who do you follow in the States now? Who's your favorite team? Still the Reds?
Die hard. I'm everything Ohio except the Cleveland Browns.
So you're a Bengals fan.
Till the day I die, if I try to switch teams, my father would probably take me out back and do something to me that I wouldn't like.
I follow my Philly teams forever. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Coach is a big Philly guy. Oh, my goodness. He will sing
there's nothing wrong with that.
He'll sing Fly Eagles Fly for you by request. And, of course, the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobsen is a huge Bengals fan. That's because of that Husker quarterback that's been coaching them. She's such a diehard Big Red fan. Tuffy, you said something that I thought was very poignant the other day in front of my students, and it touched my heart. At heart, you're a dad, and you did walk away from some big bucks to spend time with your son. Do you want to tell that story? That to me was incredibly impressive because you left big bucks on the table toward the end of your career there in Japan.
Yeah, I was 42, but back when my son, I got a divorce with my ex-wife when my son was 8, and I told him that I would retire when he was going to high school to 9th grade. So going into the 2010 season, I was a free agent, and I was offered millions of dollars to go back to Japan. And I wanted to go because at that time, I was 464 home runs. We're talking 36 home runs away from hitting 500, which is a great feast in any country. And I was close to 210 home runs, 210 hits away from having 2,000. And 2,000 in Japan is equivalent to 3,000 here in the United States. So they offered me a contract. I mean, well over millions of dollars. And I went to my son and I said, son, they want me to play a couple more years. And just looking at his face, I knew that I had to turn that money down But I make him pay for it every day. He's 32 in July, and I let him know that, son, I walked away from, I might be exaggerating this number, but he don't know that. I tell him, son, I walked away from $6-7 million, $8 million for you. You better be something when you get older. So I didn't put pressure on him, but I put pressure on him. Now he's a high school basketball teacher. He's also a teacher as well at a high school called Arcadia here in Arizona. I'm proud of him. I just was with him yesterday at a basketball team. He's coaching AAU now too as well. So I have a granddaughter now, and they're expecting another granddaughter, which is great. I would have loved to have a grandson, but hey, just as long as she's healthy, I'm great with that too as well. So.
Well, she could have played for Coach Knapp because he was the master of women's college hoops. And Tuffy's not exaggerating. Tuffy, that might have been easily $5 million the way I've got it computed that you left on the table, not to mention what it might have been with investments growing over time. And you could have surpassed both the hitting and the home run records. So my hat's off to you as a true dad for that. That's a testimonial to your character. Tuffy, what was your take of the landscape the other day? You saw young people, and Coach is still at New Mexico State. He sees young people. I'd like to get your guys' take because I see young people every day. My wife and I were walking campus earlier today, get our 10,000 steps in. What's your take? Are you optimistic and hopeful seeing the young people today that we've got? They're bombarded with stuff that we never had to put up with, from all the food additives and oxidative stresses and screen time on cell phones. What do you guys think? I'll start with Tuffy.
Yeah, well, it's a learning experience for me. I'm old school. I tell my kids, and I'm still proud of it. We use the AAA map to travel from coast to coast. We had yellow pages, we had phone booths. So this is all. This is all
you're
new.
A man after my heart. Exactly.
Yeah. So this is all new to me, but at the same time, I'm the one that have to do more of the adjusting than the kids do, because some of these kids that grew up in the 2000s, they don't know nothing but computers or cell phones. This is the way of life, but it's all new to me still to this day because I'm an old school guy. I like my old school ways, but like I said, as in Rome, do as the Romans. So I have to make the adjustment, and which I'm doing, and it's a lot of pressure on these guys. Social media will answer any question. You have AI. There's no hiding. There's no anything about nothing. And the one thing I do not like about social media is that, cyberbullying is crazy. It's easy to sit behind a computer and talk about someone else. But let's see if you can do it face-to-face like we did it when we grew up. And that's the one thing that I do not like at all.
I love it from Tuffy Rhodes. Good take there. Coach, you want to opine?
Yeah, Maggie and I talk all the time about we're glad we're not raising teenagers during this day and age. My daughter and my son, I'll give them a pat on the back. I think they've done a great job. One of my son-in-laws is in law enforcement, so he knows a lot about cyber and social media and all of those things, and how to put safeguards on your kids' computers and phones. So they don't get overexposed, but it's there, and during COVID, it made it even worse because for a year or two, you couldn't have friends if you weren't online with kids. So you really had to watch it. I think it's better now, but yeah, you got to follow the safeguards.
Here with Coach Knapp and the great Tuffy Rhodes, MLB Cub and a record setter for Japanese baseball leagues. So that tremendous greatest opening day, 3 back-to-back homers with no less than Harry Carey and Hillary Clinton in tow, beating Dwight Gooden on that day. Some of the comments on that YouTube video are incredible. Pritikin Photo Guy says, "That's me holding up the Tuffy for President sign." Yes, folks.
Wow.
There was a Tuffy for President sign held up that was captured by WGN. He said that I made after he hit 2 homers. I still have that sign and 1,000 more. I was known as the Bleacher Preacher, and Harry tabbed me the #1 Cubs fan in 1977, and in 2014, the recipient of Baseball Reliquary's Hilda Award. Another said, this was a Japanese commentator, in Japan, he is called Modern Samurai, especially people living in Osaka, respects and loves him so much. And another said, each run Each home run was opposite field off good, no less. And Rock and Roll Soul said, Tuffy Rhodes, I'm about to end this man's career, meaning Dwight Gooden. And another love the calls by Harry. And then the ZD Bailey, my brother still brags about skipping school to see this game. He was 12 at the time. Rhodes should hold the single-season home run total in Japan if they weren't so disrespectful to the game of baseball and trying to be respectful to their rendition of the sport. Hopefully that makes some sense. What does that mean, Tuffy? Did they not want you to get that one more home run?
Overall, they did not. Like I said earlier in this interview, that I don't think that Japanese baseball was ready for a 100% foreign player to have the record, and let alone American record. But it wasn't the fans. It was a catching coach that decided he wanted me to break the home run record. But I had 2 or 3 more games that I had a chance. Of course, I was facing left-handed pitchers. Wow. At the same time, it just wasn't meant to be. I can't let that 1%, maybe 2% of my career in Japan tarnish the great experience and great time and a great career that I had in Japan, because, like I said, Japan changed my life for the good, some little bad, but overall, what a great experience.
Said with great humility by Tuffy Rhodes, but I want our audience to know that he could have done that had they let him. So one other commentator here, John Mangini, says, on Vlad TV, Doc said after the first 2 homers, he was trying to hit the guy with a soft curveball, but threw it over the plate by mistake, and the guy hits it out again. Gooden got so mad, he kicked the bat rack and broke his toe. Did you know that, Tuffy?
Yeah, I did. They told me that the next day he broke his toe, yeah. Some people think he punched the wall, and then I try to explain to him, no, he just kicked the bat bag and he broke his toe. And they're like, oh, I thought he punched the wall. So, yeah.
Epic stuff. Coach Knap, we got just a few minutes left. I love baseball, opening day. It brings back such great memories. And, of course, I've been a Cubs fan forever and a Harry Carey fan forever. Coach Tuffy still got it. He was hounded for autographs by those Ottawa kids. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, this is a great guest, John, and you really brought in a good one for the Ottawa kids to speak to and listen to.
Well, hats off to Dr. Andy Hazuka, who did such a great job, and Andy's a big Cubs fan, too. And we had Bobby the Deer Dernier in last year. I love this Cubs 1-2 punch that we've had. Hey, guys, we are obviously the home and away voice of your Kansas City Royals. Can you two guys handicap the Royals for us this year? There's a lot of hope, but, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, we got disappointed in the big dance. Can we get to the equivalent of the big dance, the pennant, or the World Series this year? I'll ask Coach, and then I'll ask Tuffy. Coach, you first.
Well, like I said before, John, Vegas has them close to the bottom of that division. I think Detroit will win that division, but the Royals with Garcia, Witt, Pasquantino, and a solid pitching staff should at least finish second, may even get into the playoffs.
That's Coach's take. Well, that's better than being ranked last in the division. Carl, Tuffy Rhodes, what say you?
Well, I love Witt Jr., unbelievable talent, and the veteran catcher with Perez, and the young. And now, if people don't know, now they're going to know about Garcia, the third baseman, once they saw him in the World Baseball Classic. I love the pitching staff. They stay healthy. Anything can happen. We'll see. I can't make a prediction unless we're talking about my Cincinnati Reds, but I love Witt Jr. I love Garcia. Great catcher, great veteran leadership, and the pitching staff is unbelievable. So one day at a time, and we'll see where they are.
And 160 more games to go of the Royals here on KOFO, 1220-1037. And Denny Matthews still at the mic since 1969, and a newlywed at 83 for the first time ever married. So that guy, he's got a reason to live. And, hey, I was so heartbroken on Saturday night, last night, with my Iowa Hawkeyes finally going down in the Elite Eight to the Illini of Illinois. Coach, I was so nervous. I was pacing in Walmart. I couldn't even watch the game. I had to leave the house, let the lovely and gracious Deborah watch the game. I was pacing Walmart, doing my steps. I couldn't even watch the game on my phone. I didn't even do ESPN Gamecast play-by-play, where it texts the result of each play on your screen. I just kept asking Siri, Siri, what's the score of the Iowa-Illinois game? Like 800 times the last 10 minutes. I had a bunch of my Ottawa students shopping there laughing at me, somewhat commiserating with the old man, pensive and nervous Nelly there. My Hawks are out, and who's left? What's your call in the Final Four? Coach, who's going to win this? And then I'll go to Tuffy. Coach, you first. You're the basketball guy.
Well, Arizona won last night handily. Illinois, of course, you just mentioned, beat Iowa. And the key was on the boards, John. Illinois shot 47% from the field, most of it on the drive, and they went 18 for 21 from the free throw line, and they out-rebounded Iowa 38 to 21. So Illinois' size did them in. Arizona will play the winner of Michigan-Tennessee. That'll be a big game. I think Michigan is up handily right now against Tennessee. And then Illinois will play the winner of UConn-Duke. That game in a few hours. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm picking UConn to upset. So I say you have Arizona, Michigan, Illinois, UConn in the Final Four.
That's a great take from Coach Knapp. Tuffy, you're in Arizona, and I have some heartstrings for Arizona because my beloved former Iowa coach Lute Olson, the coach of my high school and college years, went to Arizona for a great career there after leaving Iowa. Tuffy, who you rooting for? You got a son who's a basketball coach.
Yeah, I got the Wildcats winning it all, but the team that scares me that I think can beat them is Michigan, because Michigan is big, good size, real good guard play, real good post game. So I got Arizona winning it all, but Michigan scares me. So I would Arizona, Michigan, and Duke maybe coming in third.
Well, and that's a great take, too. And, of course, you guys know I love the Big Ten. I was so glad to see Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, and Michigan all in the Elite Eight there. But I'm still going to tell you guys, Iowa still has the best law school of all those Big Ten law schools. So, hook 'em Hawks. Guys, this has been wonderful. I want to thank our sponsors, Jim and Cindy Jandrin at liferunners.org with Dr. Patrick Castle. Run or walk for life by getting your T-shirt at liferunners.org. They had a great banquet in Omaha on Saturday, and they do a lot of their events that culminate here, just down the road at Atchison at Benedictine College. They're helping expectant mothers and their babies both before and after they're delivered, after they're born. So liferunners.org, and also Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, Energy for a Strong America, renewable fuels, and ethanol. It's lean, it's clean, and it's mean. A final quote or comment, Coach, for Tuffy.
Well, we appreciate Tuffy being on. Obviously a Japanese legend, and I was very happy to get acquainted with his career, and I agree with him. Arizona will win it all.
Wow. And Tuffy, any final words this go-round for your Kansas fans? You made many this weekend.
Well, like I said, it was a pleasure. I love the campus. I love the new building. A couple of students had some really good questions, and like I said, if you guys have me again, it'll be my honor. I'm looking forward to it down the road.
I thought the girl that asked the question about what mascot adopted you, since that's the thing in Japan, was pretty cool.
What was her name? I don't want to forget her name. Do you remember her name?
I don't, but I'll get it for you. But she kind of stole the show with that question, I thought.
She got me good too. And it's funny because when I was in Japan, Dragon Ball Z was coming up for anime, but nowadays it's all over the place. And you do your research, and she asked me what is my animal sign, and of course I'm a rat. So it's yeah. So.
Well, the way you played in Japan, it was the year of the rat, many years with Tuffy Rhodes at the plate.
Yes, indeed. Hey, I'm gonna start using that, John. I'm gonna take that from you because I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna start using that from here on out.
You got it. The great Karl Tuffy Rhodes with Pat Knapp. Listen to Patrick Knapp's play-by-play with Jerry Busone. Coach, who you got on next?
Well, we have Mike Dean on, ex-Siena and Marquette coach. Coached many years, particularly on the East Coast. Actually was on Tom Izzo's staff before he went to Siena and then to Marquette. And we talked Sweet 16 and Final Four and some rule adjustments in the basketball world. Mike has some interesting ideas. Play-by-play with Mike Dean, myself, and Jerry Busone. It's up right now.
And guys, this will be up on podcast on KOFO.com. For Sean Torres, Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the great Karl Tuffy Rhodes, this is John Jacobsen saying stay tuned for other great Sunday night primetime local programming here tonight. In the meantime, guys, happy Palm Sunday. We're a week from Easter. Be safe, be smart, be good, be strong. Love Jesus Christ. Thank him for his mercies and his blessings. And God bless us, everyone. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.